It ends 0-0 at Anfield. Chelsea will probably be the slightly happier team with the result as they were away from home. But it's a terrible game for both sides. They could both be 12 points away from the top four by the end of this weekend. Only 2 wins in the last 10 Premier League games for Chelsea. No win in the last 3 for Liverpool. And up until some of the substitutions were made and Mudryk came on and Darwin came on, a complete and utter lack of quality, a complete and utter shambles of football to watch. The poor first touch, dilly dallying on the ball, the lack of cutting edge or clinical finishing from either side is crazy. When they did work the ball into good areas, they messed those opportunities up. It was one of the worst football matches I think I've seen in a long time. I have to admit, one of the worst football matches I've seen in a long time. I predicted goals because I thought both teams would be easy to open up and cut through, and they were. But the lack of quality from both teams, especially in that final third, was awful. When they did get chances, the shots were poor, or they'd slip, or they would find the wrong pass. And if you're a Chelsea fan today, if you're a Liverpool fan today, you've got to be frustrated with that. The one thing about Chelsea, though, a lot of injuries, a lot of new players to introduce, and some kind of light at the end of that tunnel. Mudryk coming onto the pitch, he looked good, and he nearly scored one of the best debut goals you'll ever see in the Premier League, nearly. And I think he was able to demonstrate the quality that he has, the fear that opponents having him. As soon as he came on, Liverpool stopped attacking down that right-hand side for a long time. Chelsea have to look at some of the quality in their team, though. And I'm not saying they can address it instantly because of injuries, but Conor Gallagher isn't it. The guy needs 3 to 4 touches. He's never going to get that time at a big club. Mason Mount, the amount of attacks he broke up and ruined today was unbelievable. Unbelievable. The amount of mistakes he made on the ball, wrong decisions, wrong passes. There was one right towards the end where he tries to feed in Kai Havertz when Mudryk is free on the left-hand side. I thought Ziyech played well. Mudryk, as I mentioned, when he came on, did good. Defensively, I didn't think Chelsea were too bad today, especially Thiago Silva. He's nearly always at the top of his game. And so far, a few games in, Badiashile looks like a decent signing. But there's a long way to go for Chelsea, but they're in the middle of a takeover, a squad rebuild, managerial transition. Liverpool, on the other hand, I understand Trent may not be fit enough. I heard the commentators saying that, and Darwin not fit enough. Obviously, everyone hyping up by Tesic, who I thought did okay. Did better in the second half than the first half. But Harvey Elliott is never going to be good enough for Liverpool. Same as Curtis Jones. They're never going to be good enough for Liverpool in terms of first team 11 regularly. That's sort of main 13, 14 players that you need to win you a title. They're never going to be that. Liverpool fans have got, I know there's love for academy players. I get it. But they are never, ever, ever going to be that for you. Cody Gakpo, I have to say about Cody Gakpo, 3 games in, people say he's not playing in his most natural position yet. We'll see. I don't really get that when he won't be playing in that natural position when Luis Diaz comes back either. Average beyond belief. And right now, I am so happy that Man United got rejected by both Gakpo and Darwin Núñez and they're at Liverpool. Because when I looked at this Liverpool team today, the lack of quality on the ball outside of Thiago in the middle and Robertson at left back and Alisson in goal, of course. Outside of those 3, the lack of technical ability in this Liverpool squad is astounding. Astounding. I don't know what they're doing, Liverpool. I don't understand who they're buying, who they're developing, because the lack of quality just on the ball in that team, you can handle a player or two. You can handle a player or two in your squad that are not out and out ballers. But Liverpool are starting teams with 6 or 7 or 8 players that are not technically proficient. Konate at the back, okay. Joe Gomez, he plays like he's 35 years old now. Naby Keita, I'm sorry to say it. He never gets on the list, but he's one of the biggest flops in Premier League history. 60 million pounds he was bought for. What, 6 years ago? 5, 6 years ago? Back then, do you know how much money 60 million pound was? compared to today's market. Awful football player. And again, because of the injuries, he plays like he's 47 years old. Legit. And there hasn't been a conversation yet about Mohamed Salah by anybody at any point, anywhere. And I don't understand why there's not been a conversation about Mohamed Salah. Because Mohamed Salah, I was talking about him this time last year as one of the GOATs. And what I mean by that is the amount of goals and assists he was having per game were on par with Thierry Henry. And I stated that if for another 18 months, 2 years, he maintains this, he'll equal Thierry Henry's numbers. Plus, if he coupled in more Prems, more Champions Leagues, he would go into that GOAT conversation. He would become, when you're in the conversation, you are one of the kind of GOATs, right? The drop off from Mo Salah is astounding. And it's 2 seasons running that his form has dipped when there has been a break from him playing for Liverpool. Last year at AFCON, this season, the World Cup. No excuse this year. He wasn't playing in the World Cup. But Mohamed Salah right now, and I'll praise him when he's good. So Liverpool fans that watch, remember how good I said he was, best player in the world a year ago. He was the best player in the world. And I was saying, this guy's on Ballon d'Or form, world class, deserves the credit. But that's dropped off and he needs to be criticized because the level of performance coming from Mo Salah is, I'm just trying to think of a player that level that he's performing at. Solly March is better than him right now. He's touch, he's dribbling, he's passing, he's vision, he's crossing, he's clinical edge. The amount that is wrong, the amount that's wrong with Mo Salah right now is astronomical. And I put it down to one thing. It's the way that Liverpool are being run. They're run well financially. They invest, but their process of investment is we build a team, it wins, it gets old, and people get sold on, and then we build it from young players again up. The problem is when you're a Mo Salah, I'm trying to put my finger on why Mo Salah, why Fabinho, why Van Dijk, why they've all dropped off this year. Even Trent to a degree, why have they all dropped off? And the only conclusion I can come to, or theory I can come to, not a conclusion, that's probably the wrong word for it, is they're all like mid-20s to late 20s to early 30s. Essentially, when FSG says, yeah, we're going to start buying youngsters and in 2 or 3 years' time be ready to win again. Some are never thinking, that's wasted time for me. We built a title-winning team, replaced the Manes, replaced the Genies with top-class players as they were, so we can maintain our level, like City do, like Man United of old did, like Chelsea of old did. But they're just not doing it at Liverpool. And that's their model and that's their way. And it's brought Liverpool massive success in recent years. But it isn't going to be sustainable success, as a lot of us predicted. Because I can't think of enough other than that. And the reason I'm thinking hard is, like my theory the other day, and these are all theories that are going through my head, sort of a working hypothesis, is it's either that or they've stopped playing for Klopp. It's one of the two things, coupled with a lack of quality in the squad. Because Liverpool look poor, and I don't know when this ends. New owners, potentially. Yes, depends who you bring in. Chelsea, I think, have some light at the end of this tunnel. The investment is massive. They've signed some quality players. A big bid is expected the early part of next week for Caicedo. And I want to say this about Chelsea as well. People are saying Chelsea have got to stop spending. They're going to break FFP. They're going to get in trouble. No, they're not. As I've spoken about many, many times before on the Football Terrace, this is all about amortization. Net spend isn't real. The transfer fees they're paying are being spread over the length of the contracts. These contracts they're giving out are anywhere between 6.5 to 8.5 years. So far, they've spent £420 million this season on transfers, but only £70 million has been spent this year. So when it comes to their finances at the end of the year, they've only spent £70 million year one on players. That is how real net spend is done. The cost of the transfer is spread over the length of the original contract that's given. Therefore, they will not break FFP rules. It's beautiful what they're doing. It's beautiful. And the reason it's beautiful for me as an ex-football financier is at long last, people are understanding that net spend doesn't exist. Creative accounting and amortization, that is how it's all done. The beauty of the way that the transfers are amortized is that when you sell a player, you show it as instant income into your account. So Chelsea will probably show a profit on this season's. It'll probably the trading years will probably work over 2 years, but they'll probably show a profit on transfer activity. That's the irony. But if you listen to the newspapers and the BTEC bog standard content creators that speak about net spend, that's on you. But net spend doesn't exist, and Chelsea are not in any trouble worries of falling out of FFP at this moment in time. They can't spend like this every single year because eventually it catches up with you in the end. But because next year they've got to spend another 70 million, right? In the following year, these players have to work, but in the short term, they're not running any risks. So there's light at the end of the tunnel for them. There's light at the end of the tunnel for Chelsea. Mudryk looked good. Caicedo could be on his way in. João Felix is back soon. You had those players in. You drop the bog standard mounts. You stop Conor Gallagher playing in midfield, and a few more players. Reece James is back in training. Ben Chilwell's back in training. And I asked a question on the title of this video: top 4 race over. For Liverpool, absolutely. Liverpool will not make the top 4 in the Premier League this year. They cannot. They're not buying anybody to move the needle. How is it going to improve? They're making no changes to this team to make it improve. Chelsea, on the other hand, I think there is still a slight outside chance. Let's see how these new signings click. Let's see how good the football becomes. Outside chance for Chelsea. Liverpool, none. None, as far as I'm concerned right now, because they're showing the football world nothing. Absolutely nothing. Not a bean. Not a bean. And I can't imagine a front three of Gakpo, Mo Salah, and Darwin Núñez scoring enough goals as they are right now. There's no midfield. And the fullbacks are shot to bits. No central defenders either that are playing well. Liverpool can't do it like this. They've got to go and spend some money, and I don't think that's going to happen. Got a panel coming out soon with the Winter Surfer Matt. We've got Ram, we've got Egal, we've got Husan joining us very soon. Man like Egal as well coming on just to have their say. We'll rotate some people in and out. I want to do these super chats first. Mistakes everywhere. This reeked of 2 teams fighting for mid-table. Fullbacks hate pace. Mudryk looks a threat. Mudryk did look a threat, and I actually got excited when he jinked in, jinked out, and nearly scored because it was just one of them. He almost scored one of those goals that everybody enjoys, apart from Liverpool fans today. He was unlucky there. Chelsea deserved to win, and we were lucky to get a point, is what Shambai, is the Liverpool fan, says. Yeah, I do personally. I felt Chelsea were a slightly better team. They had less shots, but I felt they had better chances. Is how it felt for me looking. The fall from grace by these 2 clubs is shocking. Mudryk came on and was instantly the best on the pitch. When we get better players around him, we are cooking. Better players is key. Like, better players is key for Chelsea. And people that are in form. The fact that maybe injuries have created this, but the fact Mason Mount is still being played, that's the one element of Graham Potter that needs to be questioned, because he is pants. He is absolute pants. Rancid haram football is what Sharim Iqbal says here. Hell awaits this dead club. Very angry Liverpool fan there. I am embarrassed and angry. I remember different Liverpool today. Show me we need new transfers because this team is not good enough, is what Jacob has got to say here. I've had more fun watching paint dry than that. Chelsea and Liverpool are so shite. Spurs would even beat them. I wouldn't go that far, Josh. I wouldn't go, because didn't Liverpool beat you a week or 2 ago, or a few game weeks ago? Does anyone else think they will finish top 10? They'll both make the top 10, but they're not making the top 4. Well, Liverpool are definitely not making the top 4. Chelsea, slight glimmer of hope because they've made investment, and we'll see what happens. Liverpool can have Mason. He's regressed. Yeah, I keep seeing these Mason Mount to Liverpool links. Can you imagine the outrage? Can you imagine the outrage from Liverpool fans if that happens? Can you imagine? Hyperbolic. I'm shocked we've been back. Beware. We'll be backed. We'll be back. Beware. I'm not saying Liverpool can't return. So don't get me wrong. I'm not one of these weirdos that thinks once a team dips in one season, that's it. It's a season finale. It's like The Sopranos. It's over. No, you will come back. You know, just like Take That did. They broke up. They came back a few years later and have been back ever since. You can come back. There's no doubt about it. You know, you're not the Beatles. They ain't getting back together. That's over. Like Michael Jackson's not doing a reunion tour with the Jackson 5. That's dead. What I'm saying is that this season, Niente. 0 trophies for Liverpool coming, and probably no qualification for the Champions League next year. Both teams took an L. Top 4 is over for both, is what Joshua Jack has got to say to us here today. Mudryk looked quality, I can't lie. Unfortunately, he's being managed by the B-Tech League Gunner instead of Arteta. It's actually such a shame, is what 20's got to say, the B-Tech League Gunner, you know. The two teams who were second and third last season, now 10th and ninth, or either way, is insanity, staggering. The drop-off is mad. The fall from grace is... I watched it, go on Netflix later. I watched a great documentary. It's called The Hatchet Wielding Hitchhiker. Go and watch it. This is one of the first people that ever went viral, because he... Just go watch it and you'll understand what I mean when I say fall from grace can be quick. And then you look at Arsenal and Man United, predicted to do nothing this year, and they've kind of taken their places. The turnaround can be quick. That's why you got to enjoy it when you're there. That's why you got to enjoy it when you're there. Peter here says, as an Arsenal fan, I admit Mudryk looks like a baller. Congrats to Chelsea. Now you only have to sign another 10 players to have a decent 11, is what Peter Baker says here to you, Chelsea fans. Lol, all that and still no midfield for Chelsea. That's why they're bidding 70. I reckon they're going to bid about 65, 75 million for Caicedo next week. Whenever they don't get a good result, either they buy someone. So that news will probably be trending later today. In this game, I don't know how people are calling Potter's tactics trash. They were actually put in great positions to score, but player quality... Yeah, I agree. I think Chelsea played nice football up to that point. And even with Liverpool, the quality of player on the ball today was really letting things down. Both teams were let down by having average players out there like Gallagher and Mason Mount, and Baby Keita was still playing, and Bajcetic. You know, Bajcetic was an average player, but I know he didn't even play that well. He did all right against Wolves. But if Wolves had finishes the other night, they would have knocked Liverpool out. Like, it wasn't like he controlled the midfield and stopped Wolves. You know, but that's because Fabinho has been so bad. It's crazy. Fabinho must have lied in his passport, because that man can't be 28. Look, watching the way he moves now. Man looks like he's 42. Liverpool are playing like Arsenal from the 2019-20 season, and Arsenal are playing like Liverpool from the 2019 season. Yeah, there is truth in that. That the switch is like, there's been like a Space Jam thing here. Has a talent been taken? Like, we've got to gather some aliens impersonating people. Chelsea exposing the owners who aren't spending, is what Tim B says here. There's a big truth in that, Tim. There is a good chance that Chelsea and Liverpool might be out of Europe entirely, unless Chelsea's midfield improves. I think they'll both get Conference League at the very minimum. They will. But I don't think either fan base wants that. Where are the Mount fanboys like Johnny Minerals? Yeah, Mount fanboys are finished. I was someone that was... Look, after his first season, I said he's proven me wrong to a degree. But that doesn't mean you stop improving. He hasn't gone to the next level now. Terry, the fact that you thought I'm a Spurs fan. Sorry, Josh. Do you know there is? We have about 4 Joshuas who all super chat, and I forget which one's which sometimes. So my apologies to you, my dear friend. I am very, very sorry indeed for calling you a Spurs fan. I do understand how sickening that would make you feel as a Gooner. Never seen Paul and Chelsea this poor game. Well, I'm old enough to remember Chelsea when they were always like this, when this was just Chelsea normal. And again, Liverpool in my lifetime, this is as bad as I've ever seen Liverpool be in my lifetime. Even in the sort of Roy Evans era, Roy Hodgson had them pretty bad as well. But I've never seen Liverpool this bad, with the best goalkeeper, the best centre-back, the best full-backs, the best holding midfielder, the best right winger in the world. I've never seen a team with so many world-class players this bad. Like, I've never seen it before, ever. I can't remember a time with a world-class manager. If someone can give me an example of a team in the Prem with that much world-class talent, with one of the best managers ever, that's been this bad, let me know. Chelsea, probably, back end of Jose. No, first time round after he won the league. That's probably a good example. Outside of that, give me some other examples. I want to know. I want to know who you think. Right, we've got a big panel coming on in a moment. I'm going to rotate people in and out because they want to have their say. Egal's going to chat to us a little bit as well. This game was like watching 2 dead corpses. It's a weird thing that you do at weekends, watching dead corpses, brothers. That's strange. But there we go. Please make sure like buttons have been hit. And I didn't like the results today, but please support the Football Terrace by hitting the like button and subscribing to the Football Terrace. It's very, very important to us that you get that done. Up first on the show, I'm going to bring out Husan. I'm bringing out Kurdish. I'm bringing out David. I'm bringing out Egal. I'm bringing out Ram. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to have Matt, Winter Surfer, and Ches to come on with us very soon as we're going to rotate people in and out. Let's bring them out now to have their say. Let's do this. I don't know why it went on to that setting. Welcome back to the Terrace, gentlemen. I suppose commiserations to both of you today. Poor result. Hussam, speak to me about that battle of mid.
That was probably one of the worst games of football I've seen this whole year. Both teams just dreadful, to be honest with you. We were probably a bit worse than Chelsea. And it's just getting boring now. Like, I just don't even know what to say anymore. I don't know what I can do. What can I say that hasn't been said 100 times already? It's just tactically inept. Jurgen Klopp, once again, we've criticized him 100 times this season, and he deserves the criticism that he gets. And the rest of the players, the only two players that once again deserve credit yet in another week is Allison and Thiago, and the rest just crap. All of them, to be honest with you, just no one really playing football at the level expected of him. The front line all just not good enough. The midfield, besides Thiago, Bajcetic is a young kid. He showed moments, but I'm not gonna criticize him. The center backs, the right back, the left back, everyone just not good enough, man. And the fall from grace, it makes no sense. And I don't know how we went from challenging for a quadruple to just being this shit. Like, people do, you can fall off, but like, people fall off to third, fourth place, and it's like a step-by-step process. We just fell off a cliff, man. And Jurgen Klopp has to be held accountable. Full stop. He's the manager. He's the person responsible. We should have gotten a midfielder in this January. I still have hope. I hope we don't get the wrong midfielder in. With the recent Mount links showing up. If we do get Mason Mount, then I might genuinely just delete my channel and disappear and just go work with chemicals again. I just cannot do this. If we get Mason Mount, honestly, it's just like the most pointless fucking transfer that would happen in the history of football as a sport. If you go get Mason Mount, let me just go get a shit midfielder to fix our already shit midfield. What a plan there. Today, the front three, I think, as well. Mo Salah, shit performance. Cody Gakpo, few shots, but he's not even hitting the target. I like the one in the second half where he turned a little bit and he tried. Darwin Núñez was a spark when he came on. I do not understand why Darwin Núñez was played on the left and Gakpo down the middle. It would make more sense that the opposite happened, which is Núñez down the middle and Gakpo on the left. That for me made no sense. Taking Naby Keita off as well made no sense to me. Bringing Harvey Elliott back into midfield made no sense. The three substitutions, that might be, no exaggeration, the worst triple sub in the history of Premier League football. Dumb, dumber, and dumbest, right there. Fabinho, Henderson, and Curtis Jones. So I would love to just sit down with Jurgen Klopp. If I have the opportunity to sit down with Jurgen Klopp, I just need him to explain to me his thought process behind giving Curtis Jones a new contract. Tell me, what does Curtis do on the pitch? What does he do? Give me one thing that Curtis Jones does on the pitch. This guy is the most useless fucking player I've ever seen in my whole life. He's actually worse than Charlie Adam. I'm not exaggerating. I've seen Charlie Adam for Liverpool. Charlie Adam is better than Curtis Jones. This guy's just shit. There's nothing he does. He just gets the ball, dribble, look nice on the ball, shimmy, do fuck all with it. Can't shoot, can't pass, can't dribble, can't create, can't do anything. He's just shit, to be honest with you. And I have no idea why you would play him. Henderson comes out in the press, gives me interviews, and I promise I'm gonna get better. You're fucking shit. You ain't gonna get better. In your best year for us, all you did is run. That's all you did, bro. This is our captain. This is our captain. Trent told him to fuck off last week. That's my right back. Because why are you telling me where to be? You're fucking shit. Just retire. Hang up your boots. It's time to sit in the barn for Jordan Henderson. But hey, we're going to give Miller an extension. Big up to Liverpool Football Club. We are a banter club right now. And the only way, I don't know how we get out of this mess. And I know I've spoken a lot, but I'm just going to land here. For me, the biggest worry is we go sign Bellingham, we go sign midfielders, and we go, make the transfers that we need, and we're still shit. If that does happen, then there's only one solution that I've not gotten to that stage yet. But unfortunately, if we do sign players and we're still shit, then there's only one solution, to be honest with you. And I do not know what I can say in this moment in time. This is 9th versus 10th, and it was at Anfield, and we're fucking shit, man. Like, we didn't really create any dangerous opportunities, didn't do anything. This is 90 minutes. You all could have used it to do something better. I apologize to all the non-Liverpool Chelsea fans who had to watch that shit for 90 minutes. I'm sorry. I wish I could give you the 90 minutes back, but I can't. So that's what I'd say. Also, this Mudryk hype, he's gonna do this to Trent, gonna do that to Trent. He did fuck all to Trent. Like, this whole, oh my god, Trent this, Trent that. Just give it a rest, please. Oh god.
I get your frustration. David, from a Chelsea point of view, what was your take on this game?
It was quite positive, actually. I'm so over the moon that I'm not the worst top 6 team right now, because we're bad. Like, we're really bad, but somehow you guys are worse, and that gives me a little bit of hope. Genuinely, I thought before the game I thought it'd be a 0-0, and it was a 0-0, but it wasn't a 0-0 in the way that I expected it to be, because I thought we dominated the game. To be honest, I felt like we held possession quite well. And the only thing we were just lacking was finishing quality. And we've been knowing that. And also we've been lacking a competent midfield who can play some through balls. But, we won't get into that. I thought overall it was genuinely a positive performance in terms of Mudryk came on and he looked fantastic. I've done no scouting on this kid. I have no idea what to expect. He came on and was fantastic. The best player over the 90 minutes, and he played half an hour by far. Havertz wasn't completely awful today. I thought he was better out of the Havertz Mount pairing. I thought he was better than him. And Thiago Silva was fantastic, but that's a standard. And Badiashile looks a decent player. And what's exciting me about Badiashile playing well and Mudryk playing well is that if our board and our technical director and all the scouts are lining up in thought, as we've all been told behind the scenes, and it's going in that direction, that only excites me more for signing Noni Madueke, because that's going to be another winger who's going to run at people. I'm not the biggest fan of Caicedo, but if everyone is saying we need to get Caicedo because he's the guy, I'll keep my mouth shut and I'll see what happens. But I can see the direction my club is moving, and even though it's not going to be fantastic from day one, I can see the direction. So I'm a bit more positive. Whereas Liverpool fans, I feel like, are like, we kind of don't know what's going on. Our owners aren't going to spend money like Chelsea are doing. So there's not even that to say, oh, we're going to at least replace Curtis Jones and Bajcetic and Thiago and all these guys. So I can see why they're even more frustrated. But with me, I'm genuinely quite positive. We didn't win, which is annoying, but there were definitely positives to take out of the game. So
I get that. This super chat here said El Shitico was dead. Chelsea needs rebuilding with Potter and sell the dead wood. Roman and Marina signings. Liverpool fans, don't be scared to question Klopp. I mean, Chelsea are being rebuilt. On Liverpool, I've been sent a stat through from Winter Surf at this backstage. 26% of Liverpool's goals this season came against Bournemouth. That's a problem. Like, what are you saying, Curtis? We haven't heard from you for a couple of weeks. What are you saying, bro?
How you doing, man? You okay? How's everyone? I said before the game, I said if Darwin Núñez starts today, we probably have a chance of winning. If you look at Liverpool all season, we don't play through midfield. We can't defend through midfield. So what we have done in the games we've won is we've just managed to go long, and he's been able to threaten behind and give defenders something to worry about. He may not be the most clinical, but he's a good outlet, especially when you're not playing football. The last 3 weeks, if you've watched us when he's not been playing, we've had no outlet. We've created no chances. So we can slate Darwin Núñez all here. And today it was the same again. We have no midfield, and everything was just ball to feet, especially the front three. There is no pacing behind. There is nothing for defenders to be worried about. And actually, I think it speaks volumes when we're sitting here as Liverpool and Chelsea fans are telling me we created chances, and that's impressive, and we're happy with that. And as a Liverpool fan, I'm happy with the fact that we looked a little bit more compact. It's in the nicest way. It's a bit of a mess right now. I I'm not even buying into the whole Klopp conversation, as I believe there's a bigger problem, and I believe in long-term solutions. By getting rid of Klopp, you're fixing something short-term, but you're not addressing anything long-term. So I'm not even, interested in them conversations right now. But there needs to be conversations about this club. There needs to be about the negligence right from the top, because we can sit here and actually say Jurgen Klopp didn't buy this player and Jurgen Klopp didn't buy this. But we all know here, the best clubs do not listen to their managers. They have a strategy and they follow that strategy. So to me, it's negligence by the owners, even on that side. Why are you not putting someone above Klopp's head to make certain decisions? If Pep Guardiola doesn't want a player, really doesn't want to play, he might not get him. But if he suits what the people above him want and have a vision for the club, they'll play his hand and they'll buy the player. And this is where I go back to. This negligence is right at the top. And I don't know. I don't know how you fix it unless you get new owners or Klopp goes. But if Klopp goes, you're losing one of the best managers in the world. So I do hope we get Solskjaer. But it is what it is. I said to you, Terry, and I'm going to wrap up on this a few weeks ago, my expectations are aligned with the owners this season. And that's their part of the cycle where this season, if we get top 4, great. If not, we'll go again next season. So I'm not deflated. I'm not overly upset. We're not a good footballing team at the moment. There's multiple reasons for it, but what can you do? You just have to hide your face like I'm doing,
No, listen, I get you on that, mate. I think it must be a tough time right now. And I know how you feel. I felt like this pretty much for the past 10 years. So, like, I totally get how you're feeling when your team plays like this. But equally, like, that's how I know how bad you are, because this isn't a case of, you're just going to click back into gear next week. A few of your players could. Like, Mo Salah could get back to his goal-scoring ways. But there's so many average footballers now in your team. And I see the way I saw Liverpool fans start talking about, and I'm going to butcher his name again, the DM today.
By Cecic.
By Cecic. The way I saw them like, whoa, look what we've unearthed. I'm like, oh, no, you're doing it again. You're doing it again. Slow down. He was okay against Wolves. But if Wolves had finishers on the pitch, you didn't win that game. You weren't the better footballing team in that game. So saying he dominated the midfield, you dominate midfield when your team like performs the best in the game, generally speaking, in the game. I feel that's when you win the midfield battle. But when your team's being peppered and being overrun in midfield, I don't see how you can praise him. You've got so many average footballers there now. The investment has been poor in recent years. The signing of Gakpo seems strange because I keep hearing Liverpool fans go, when he's in his best position on the left, you'll see the best of him. You've got Diaz coming back. When does he play? He's playing up front. In fact, you should have spent that money on a midfield player. That's what you need to go out there and do. Do you know what I mean? But it's crazy what's going on at Liverpool right now.
When I talk about root cause, it's not just the finance side where these owners are to blame for. It's about the structure of the organisation. Who has signed off that Gakpo deal? Because if it's Jurgen Klopp, why is there not someone above him like there used to be in Michael Edwards, who's got a strong backbone to say, no, this is what the team needs? And this is what I'm talking about, negligence right from the top. It's not just the finances side. They have let the organisation rot because roles and responsibilities are diminished and they're not defined for each individual within that club. And that's the problem. That's the biggest problem you have.
No, I totally get where you're coming from. Egal's here joining us now. What you saying, bro?
I expected a 0-0. I'm not going to lie to you. I expected a draw, not a 0-0. I expected a goal-scoring draw. I didn't think both teams were gonna keep a clean sheet. Because let's be honest, Liverpool and Chelsea at this moment in time, David, I disagree with you. I wouldn't say Liverpool are worse than you. I would say both of you are unreliable. You can't trust your teams to defend certain games. You can't trust your teams to attack certain games. And in this game, you couldn't do either at times. Chelsea looked like the better team in the second half because their new signings have been the fresh breath of fresh air. Liverpool need more signings. Liverpool need some new players in that dressing room to galvanize these guys and kick them up their asses. Because let's be honest, a lot of the Liverpool players that have been here since the title days, they don't look like they're up for the fight. They don't look like they want to compete. They don't look like they're doing anything. And guess what? When Chelsea bring on Mikel Mudryk, who looked like one of their best players. Chelsea, you guys stole one over us. You did a good signing. At the end of the day, I wanted Mudryk. You guys got him. Fair play to you guys. He's going to be a great signing for you guys. Enjoying in the long run. In the short term, there's going to be growing pains because Chelsea is not a healthy place for any attacker to jump in right away. But he came in and he looked amazing. And to counteract that, what do you guys do? the substitution you guys made, Trent is the one that comes on to try to stop him. The rest of the players that you brought in, they weren't game changers. You have no game changers at this moment in time. Liverpool look a shell of themselves. Chelsea look a shell of themselves. And it's not an insult to you guys as fans. Your boards and these people who are running your club are letting you down. One team is signing everyone under the books and they're trying to make changes. The other team is just letting the team rot away. And it's like two different sides of the coin. But at the end of the day, the team that is going to be making the difference is the team that tries to do something and tries to make something happen. Chelsea, Batty Ashley, and Michaela Mudryk were the two best players, in my opinion, and they're the new signings. Chelsea, they might actually find something from this season, because I thought Liverpool were going to still be above them. But at this moment in time, they could potentially find something from the season. But when it comes to Liverpool, you guys have to wake up and say to yourselves, how do you let this team age to that level? How do you let a club like your club, where you're at standards, we're winning the league every single year, drop this low? Is the manager? Potentially. He's driving you guys into an iceberg. But you don't want to give him all the blame. You want to give the owners the blame. I get that. Owners are also to blame. They don't do things right when they and at this moment in time they're selling, so they don't have the ambition to do it. So maybe you're waiting until the new owners come. But guess what? These players might not be able to listen to Klopp for much longer. They might not be able to listen to him much longer. They might just need somebody else to come in to boost their ego, to tell them, you know what, we're going to do things a little bit different, to give them some new inspiration. Because at this moment in time, the person you guys love and endear is not really doing anything to make your team a better team. And you got to look internally and say to yourself, how are you going to make this better? I'm not here to insult any of your teams. I'm just saying what I feel like is straight facts. Anyways, I'm out of here.
I'm going to come in here because I'm not saying Jurgen Klopp is not accountable. Like I say, he's made tactical decisions, and even today, playing Elliot out at left wing, completely wrong. But fundamentally, if you change Jurgen Klopp now, you bring a manager in with the same owners who have the same ambition, you just go around the same cycle. What you do is you have 2 years of success, and all of a sudden, you're going, right, we need to change manager again. In Jurgen Klopp, you have proven quality in one of the top 3 managers in the world. If you want to say 5, okay. A man that can go a whole season, maybe losing 2 to 3 games. And the fact of the matter is, you cannot afford to lose that asset when there is a bigger problem. So let's focus. And this is why I say I'm tunnel vision on all my problems are the root cause, which is these owners. And then if Jurgen Klopp continues this behavior, I can assess him then. But actually, in world football, there isn't many managers that can go a whole season losing 3 to 4 games.
I think it's also difficult. It's difficult to comprehend when your manager comes out and in his conferences he says stuff like, I believe in training and stuff like that. But at the end of the sentence, he says stuff like, well, I would like to let go of players, but I need the players available. I need the players that are ready to come in and replace those players. So it's just like, which one are we meant to believe? Like, I think both statements are kind of true. I think the players that Klopp wants, he can't get because the board don't want to push the boat out a little bit. But I think also is the case of you can only train as much as you can do. Like a leopard don't change its spots. You can't train Naby into becoming dynamic of the guy that he was at RB Leipzig. Like, it's impossible. You can't train Henderson to become the guy of 2019-20 running around the pitch and doing the defensive dogged work. Like, it's difficult to sort of comprehend what is going on, really.
Can I come in now?
Yeah, go on, Dan. Go on, mate.
Obviously, it's good to be back. It's been a while, actually. Terry's hair's looking good. Ram's even growing out his hair as well. I'm seeing. So it's good stuff. But look, at the end of the day, what it comes down to, and obviously, I intentionally as well wanted to. I didn't really want to try and come back on a win. I still think there's so many things that need to be addressed at Chelsea. However, what I will say is that where my concerns were with Potter and what we were doing tactically and whatnot, you can see clearly that I think a large part of the problem was personnel. And once you get the personnel right in the team that you want, and then a team that fits the identity and the mold of the manager that you've brought in, then you will eventually see results. Where I parallel that to Liverpool is that they've made a mistake. They've actually got personnel wrong in what has made them successful, in what made Klopp successful in having the workaholic midfield and whatnot, and putting their money where their mouth is, and necessarily replacing guys and even strengthening when they were supposed to strengthen rather than replace. That was where the mistakes came. I'm not saying Thiago was necessarily a mistake, but it was a shift in away from what you normally do. I'm not saying Harvey Elliott was a mistake. I'm not saying it's a mistake. I'm saying it's a shift in the mode of player that you normally or had been successful in getting. When you shift away from getting players in the mode, so similarly to Potter now, where he's having to use different types of players in positions that he might not have been used to, in profiles that he might not have been used to, it's not necessarily going to work. Conte having to work with players that aren't in his mode, it's not going to work. And the example that I always point to is that you look at two managers in particular, so Alex Ferguson and Pep Guardiola, who have been fortunate in their situations and they've been able to almost manage these dynasties and have great clubs and do great things with them. One thing that they've always had is support from the owners isn't necessarily only just about buying. It's also trusting their judgment. It's also listening to them when they say what they want something. It's also trusting the fact that, cool, even if we can't get this player, don't just get me any player. I still want to get the player in the mode that I want. And that's what it comes down to. And I think where I'm still happy is that for the first time in a long time, I can say that today felt like drop points for me. And I can say that as well, for the first time in a long time, I saw an idea of what Potter football might look like at Chelsea with the right guys there. Mudryk comes on, one thing that I've been always saying, once you get a dribbler who can attract attention, that gives other players more space and a lot more time to do. Mudryk plays a reverse pass into Carney. Carney had about 4 seconds to shoot. Like about 4 seconds.
He just fell over.
Konate made the recovery tackle. Another situation, I think it was a nice intricate piece of play where Mudryk plays the ball into Carney, and it's almost like Carney was so surprised the ball came back to him that quickly that he almost stumbles over the ball. And that's what I'm seeing now. For me, when you put Felix back into this, when you put Madueke, who's just come into this situation, when you put Nkunku into this situation, if you get Saicedo, another technical footballer, and you put that all into the situation, you're looking at something completely different. When you get Fofana back, when you get Reece James back, when you get Chilwell back. So I'm actually happy because I can actually see the direction now. And a lot of people are questioning, and just the last thing before you come in, Terry, a lot of people are questioning Todd Bowley's methods and whatnot and how he's doing things. And I think what makes me laugh the most is, and even Chelsea fans might even question the method of just, it seems like you're just trying to buy everyone on the market, steal everyone on the market. I would just love to see the narrative if he wasn't as proactive as he's being now. I love the fact that he is hands-on and he wants to bring players to the club and he wants to put our manager and our club in a situation where we only get the best. That is what a project and a rebuild looks like, because we're not looking to do 10 years like United or Arsenal. We're looking to come back and compete for the title next year. And that's what I expect. So that's what it comes down to.
Dan, I agree. I think that the reason that Todd Bowley's methods are like confusing people is they don't how can you spend 420 million in 1 year? No one's ever done that. And they're top ending it. They're essentially saying, right, we need, 12 players. Let's not wait 4 years to buy them. Let's buy them all now, the ones we want that are available. You'll probably find next year you just don't sign as many people. And the point being, say next year you only sign one player, you then divide it over 2 years and it's pretty much on par with everybody else. I don't understand. The reason that no one understands this is because every time I watch TV and they talk about transfers, no one brings out amortization and how you spread the cost. They just go, how does net spend work with this? Well, net spend isn't real and net spend isn't what dictates FFP. Some prick on YouTube's been saying this for years. And that's one thing I love about Todd Bowley is exposing it. The second element is just they're not going for broke. The only risk in this method is if the players they're signing and Potter together flop, because they won't be able to spend 420 million every single year, because at some point burning the candle at both ends means you run out of wick. But they've just gone for an approach where they're saying we don't want to buy 3 and then the 2 in the summer and another 1 next January, and then 4 the following summer, then 1 more. And then they all essentially don't want what every single fan base of struggling clubs. Arsenal went through this. I went through this of, 1 more, 2 more players and we'll be ready. Then we'll be ready. The irony is, by the time you get round to that 4th transfer window, certain other players are then dropped off the qualities, and you've got to replace them. It becomes too much of a cycle. So
and the good thing is that if our players do perform, we're not left in a situation where they've got 2 years left on their contract and they can just run it down, or they can leave for cheap on a 1 year. If Mudryk performs as we think he will over the next 5 years, he's still got 3 more years left on his contract, and he's not going anywhere. If he does go somewhere, it will be worth the money we invested in the first place. And then when it comes back to FFP and the amount that we sell in that season, it will be worth it, effectively.
And you're going to see it more often. You're going to see these death row type contracts. I promise you. Teams are going to clock onto it. As long as if UEFA come in with something where you can only give 5 years, cool, fair enough. But like I think I saw Secret Scout tweet something that was completely incorrect, because Felix got a long deal. He got like a 7-year deal. Even Kepa got like a 6-year deal. He was trying to explain that you can only.
Yes, I heard some. I saw them tweets that I was like, no, these long deals. I mean, I remember God rest his soul, Chelsea getting like a 5-6-year deal all them years ago. I remember Alan Pardew, the manager, got a 7-year deal at Newcastle a decade ago. So
Powell got like an 8-year deal with that.
It's a lie. But clubs are also doing it because players now are not renewing contracts. They're letting things run down. So the clubs are saying, well, we'll pay you a little bit more than everybody, or we'll pay you 90 instead of 75,000 a week. But it's an 8.5-year deal. That way, in 5 years, if Mudryk wants to leave, you've still got 3.5 years left on a deal, meaning you'll get money back for him. It's smart business. And I always get this. Net spend is real, Terry, just not how the media outlets use it. So stop disrespecting accountants. Net spend is real. It's based on your profit and loss of your business. Net spend in terms of spent 50 million on a player and sold 80 million pounds worth, therefore you're plus 30 million, is wrong. It doesn't ever work like that. So I'm right. We're both right. You're just having to go at me. Net spend in the basic format isn't right. Winter Surfer joins us here. I did want to ask you guys, I know Ram hasn't spoken much about his team yet, but what did we make today of Mihailo Mudryk, Winter Surfer?
Just going back to what you just said, Forest just gave that Brazilian kid 6.5-year deal, so they're doing it. So with all the contracts,
here says Fabregas had a 7-year deal at Arsenal.
Yeah,
probably
exactly.
True. Yes, it's the reason that people are saying this is because they're like, Chelsea haven't even found a loophole. Chelsea are just saying we're going to do
no rules.
Everybody else. Yeah, there is no rule around
rules. You just didn't do it first.
It's also confusing people because they've been stupid enough to believe in net spend for 20 years. It's just remember, dumb people are offended by it because they're dumb. Like, just dumb people.
On to Mudryk. I mean, I think people are laughing. I think his first touch wasn't that good, but then of that first chance he had, but then it sort of turned into a good cameo. And like David said, I do agree with him. I thought he was the best player on the pitch. He was only on for 35 minutes. What it does do is I think you saw confidence in the other players rise when they saw what he was doing with his touches and his passing. Yeah. And it also, when you get a player like that, it also shows who can adapt and who's not going to adapt possibly. I think we saw that in the way Gallagher, in his attacking role, I thought he's better defensively, but his attacking role, he's limited, and Mount is obviously just Mount. But I want to say though, I thought Chukwuemeka played well in his limited cameo today, and I want to see him start to get more and more minutes, because I think there's a player in there that could do something. Whether he's part of the squad or starting in the future, but there is something there. But I really want to see a front three of Mudryk, João Felix, and Sterling this season, and see how that goes. Because I think if you've got João Felix and Mudryk there, I think it takes the pressure of Sterling just to be that guy he was at City, where he just finishes off chances and scores. I really want to see that when it comes through. I want to see Noni start as well. But yeah, I just want to say I agree with Daniel. I'm a bit disappointed. I know we didn't pepper Alisson or something like that, and I know, but I just felt we were the better side in a really rubbish game. Yeah, I don't know what that means, but I just coming away.
We defo had enough chances to win we had by far the clear cut chances to win that game.
It was a last touch or
the final thing.
Ziyech came in that run when he was on, and he went literally the whole way around, and he just blasted it over on his favourite foot.
Yeah, Mudryk could have taken it first time. Badiashile could have scored his header like so many times when it was like.
But I just we've had to suffer with Cho, Pulisic, on these wings where they just don't. They have no game at all, and they just like to run. This kid is 22, but he just showed some great skill.
Well,
And I hope he
What's
starts the
interesting about
next game.
Mudryk, this is how you know, like, people, this is one of the funniest things I've seen. You know, like, everyone they try to turn everybody into a flop now without giving anybody time. I've seen this. I saw this on Twitter and it's made me die. It's a Mudryk from an Arsenal fan, a Mudryk mistake thread.
Oh my god!
Like, so look, number one slipped, fouled Mudryk 30, like, and you're gonna, and this is what now one guy has done it, and I'm sure other people have done it today. If you just search like Mudryk, like mistake or mistakes thread, like search on Twitter, they're already there. Like,
by the way, he could have scored a goal of the season today. He could have scored a goal of the season today.
Yeah, I mean, he looked good, but this is what like everyone's got to prepare themselves for. This is every club. Whenever you sign up, like I thought it was weird we've got Anthony that isn't like
they're hating right now. Yeah.
But it's weird because like in the first half, like this is how like staying off social media changes your mind. So me and Jess were watching the first half, and we're sitting there, and we're not sitting on our phones, we're just watching the game. And I said, I've been really like against Palace, and I'm like, I'm really impressed with his link-up play. He run at the fullbacks a few times. It was probably the best half of football without scoring I've seen from Anthony. I tweeted it. What game are you watching? You're chatting nonsense, and then you look at the like you put his name in. It's like it's almost like if the majority of people are saying he's rubbish, I'm going to say he's rubbish because that's where the retweets and the likes and the attention is. Does that make sense? And I'd love to take some of these trolls off, like they're not on Twitter, and ask their opinions when watching a game with them because it would be very different. And what you'll find, people that are annoyed that Mudryk's gone there, you'll probably have a few Chelsea fans who, the ones that love Mason Mount might do this as an example, is they'll cotton on to, they'll just focus on the mistakes that he makes and the problems with the player rather than looking at the fact that I think if he played for 50, 60, 70 minutes today, he could have won you the game. I thought he was that good.
Yeah. I wish he had started because he would have had Milner on. Like, do you know the funny thing is about that Milner situation? Mount's ball was actually really poor. Like, it was so narrow that he had to like run like at a really weird angle. If he just played the normal through ball, he would have been through. I think he would have just run at him the whole game, and he would have been.
That's what it comes down to. I mean, I'm not going to criticize Potter for the decision. I understand it. I think as well he would have been a little bit nervous with how well João Felix played from the start and then gets a red card just due to excitement and over exuberance. So I think he would have been nervous about that. So bringing him on made sense. And I feel like in another situation, maybe if he had a little bit more time, he could have literally won us the game. But I think what it comes down to again, it's like what we were saying. In that, yeah, fair enough. We haven't had the best of seasons. This has been one of the worst seasons in a long time. But there is a sense of optimism and excitement there where we are bringing in players that are clearly exciting, are clearly going to get us off our feet. And like in where Liverpool are at the end of a perceived project or cycle, we're just at the beginning of something new and we don't actually know what we're actually capable of. And just focusing on Liverpool a little bit, just so that I could give my 2 pence before I head off to work. It's just that I just think that there's a lot of maybe Klopp's at the end of the cycle. The biggest mistake you will do is sack Klopp, in my opinion. Sorry to come off a little bit like that, but I think I'm more for that. It will be the biggest mistake you could ever make, and it is about getting new ownership or whatever. But like this is coming from an unbiased view. If I'm saying from a fan view, yeah, I want you to sack Klopp because I honestly don't think you're going to do better. But if we're being honest, Klopp has shown that he's got the pedigree. He's shown what he's able to do. He's competed with one of the hardest Manchester City teams ever. And it just so happens that when he comes to the end of his cycle, when Man City are also coming into like a lull period or an adjustment period or whatever you want to talk about, Arsenal have suddenly filled that vacuum, and it's not been Liverpool to fill that vacuum. So yeah, I just think the Salahs of this world, it's just changed. Nunes, Gakpo, they're not players that he bought wingers. He bought Mane, he bought Salah, he brought in Oxlade-Chamberlain when he was still explosive. I believe Klopp was the one who brought in Oxlade, or am I wrong about that? Yeah. So he brought in explosive players. So now the whole transfer strategy is, even Luis Diaz, a good signing. That's a good signing. But now the transfer strategy just seems to have changed. Like, I don't really understand it. So yeah, man, we'll just see how it goes. But yeah.
Absolutely. Daniel, I appreciate you coming on. I'll chat to you again soon. Top man, mate. Speak again soon. All the best, bro. I'm going to add Matt in here. Ches still to join us as well soon. Kurdish, I appreciate you coming on, brother. I'm going to rotate some people in and out. Cheers, brother. Thank you very much indeed. Ches is here with us. I wanted to say on these long contracts, Man United are trying to tie down Alejandro Garnacho to an 8-year deal. And for the first time in my recollection of a big club in England also putting in a massive buyout clause in it as well. So the way it's changing, and the club knows, because there's a way of saving money for things being longer term, the way the bonuses work and everything else. Ram, I obviously haven't spoke too much about. I know we've all kind of touched on Liverpool and what they're doing. What is your personal take on Gakpo? Because just I get he might not be the right profile to buy at this point, but have you been impressed with him? Are you sort of thinking this is sort of 40 million pound that? I mean, because right now I think he looks distinctly Danny Ings.
I'm so happy you asked me that question, Terry, because I was going to get on to that. I don't know what he is as a player, because he's not explosive enough to be a winger, but he's not a number 9 because he can't play with his back to goal. And I think I heard this when he first joined, and this particular person got a lot of heat for it. I think we should do a Joel Linton and put him in midfield. I think the capabilities and the qualities that he has is good enough to be a midfielder for Liverpool. And the person that said that was Didi Hamann, and he got a lot of stick for it. And I was like, maybe you are onto something, because you think about the players that we said. I know Daniel just touched on it. Diaz and Mane, they're explosive, they're fast, and they could take on a man. And you got Salah, who's also that kind of player. Gakpo is not that. Gakpo is neither explosive, and he doesn't have like the skill set to beat a man. And he can't. For me, I don't think he can play as a striker. So the other option I can only think of is playing him in midfield, because he likes the ball at feet. He likes to drive with the ball, and he likes to give the ball off to the wingers or to the striker or to the wingers actually. So that's how I see it. I haven't been truly impressed with Gakpo up front. I think I found him very frustrating today, especially that opportunity where he took it away from Salah, who was behind him, and he had an easy shot on goal. So yeah, for me, I've been very underwhelmed with Gakpo. I thought he'd have a little bit of something about him, but it's just been, I know the situation hasn't been good for him, but at least show me something. And yeah, that's all I got to say in that, man.
Yeah, I'm glad you got him, bro, because listen, I'm actually happy. Legitimately, I'm happy with Weghorst short term. With Harry Kane coming in the summer, we got the better deal here. We got the better goddamn deal. Really and truly. Matty joins us now along with Ches. Matty, a weird performance. Chelsea fans seeming quite happy. What's your take on today?
I mean, wasted 90 minutes, man. I mean, it was really the day game for me. I expected a bit more. I expected, when I see the 89th minute and I see my captain telling the players to slow down and calm it down, when I suppose if a big team like that, we should be winning a game like that, But obviously both teams are not at their best spot right now. But I think, focusing on just Chelsea in general, I think this team generally is quite shocking. I think, we give these exceptions to the players and people say, oh, yeah, we had a decent game. But I think that just comes to our standards, and our standards have dropped. I see players, again, I'm going to mention the same player I've been mentioning for months, Terry, for years. I'm saying Mason Mount's at Chelsea level. And he comes to a game like this once again where he just doesn't turn up. And I see Hakim Ziyech. Week in, week out, yeah. He gives those balls to the attackers. He's always giving in a great cross, finding players to their feet, to the head. If Mount did that, that'd be hyping him up left, right, centre. So I'm going to give credit to Ziyech today, because I think Ziyech did very, very well today, getting the ball to the feet of the players, giving the ball to the headers. He gave a great ball to Mudryk at the end, a couple of good balls in the box. But other than that, I want to give credit to the man at the back, Badiashile and Thiago Silva. I think that was our only great thing we saw today. I think Badiashile was an absolutely fantastic player. I'm really, really enjoying watching him. I think that's the only player I enjoyed today. I think he was probably one of the best players, if not man of the match for Chelsea today, because that's someone that we didn't spend a lot of money for, and we got for quite cheap, and he's fitting in our system perfectly. You look at someone like Koulibaly, who hasn't really suited this team properly. So I think it's just the bet for us now coming forward. We just got to scout players who fit the system and don't need to splash that cash. But then again, you look at someone like Mudryk, who we did splash that cash when I saw today that there's something in this guy. There's something in him, something a lot of players missed when Mudryk gave Chukwuemeka the ball, and obviously Chukwuemeka had that flip. That Mudryk actually went to Chukwuemeka and helped him off the floor and shook his hand and said, well done, and gave him the encouragement. I've been screaming, Terry, for a leader in this team. I've said it previous times. Aspilicueta is not a leader. He's not a captain for me. I need a proper leader who would encourage these players and push these players to the best abilities, not a captain who slows down the players when we're supposed to be scoring a goal. So what I saw from Mudryk today was absolutely fantastic. I need to continue seeing this. I'm not gonna, jump to a conclusion on Mudryk anytime soon, as I wish I could, saying and everyone saying next Hazard, blah blah blah. I'm gonna take it game by game because I need to see more consistency of him. But what I am gonna see more of him is him on that pitch and Mason Mount on that bench, because I don't want to see him ever play on this pitch again. He is done. I'm sick of it. He's played 18 games, including England, and scored 1 goal with 0 assists, with 0 big chances created. When are we gonna wake up and realize this guy's not good enough? When are we going to realize? He provided nothing today. He kept tripping on the ball, losing the ball. Liverpool, you want him? Please take him. Please take him, and you can take Gallagher for free with him as well, because again, Gallagher, another rubbish game. He's just a road runner. So they're the negatives, but there was some positive in this game. So I'm not going to go and be very upset today, because there was some positives. But again, it's a mid-table battle today. It's shit versus garbage, but we just need to improve from what we have, from the little improvements that we had today. We just got to push on that, and from the bad performances we had, we just got to react to that. Mount's been playing bad consistently. Drop him. Don't start him next game. It's simple. I don't know why we keep starting him, because he's not providing anything. So
because we don't have other midfielders. That's the issue.
but we got Mudryk. I'll rather start an unfit Mudryk than start Mickey Mount. I'm sorry.
Mudryk in midfield. Let him do wing.
He wasn't playing midfield. He wasn't
Let
playing.
him do wing.
He wasn't playing. He wasn't playing midfield. Mount was playing.
No, but
Mount was playing right mid.
I want to see Mudryk focus on what he's doing, which is attacking. Focus over there. We need to sign more midfielders. Mount is someone who will do.
Mount's not a midfielder.
Together. Well, he is.
He's playing right mid.
No,
that's what Mudryk plays left mid.
Mudryk and Mount they don't come together. They're completely different circles. There's no overlap here. They're different players, completely different.
But they play in the same position. Like again, you say Mount goes more central. They're both David. They're both supposed to be creators. I don't care if they're in a midfield or in a fucking attack. They're both creators.
They create in different ways.
I mean, Mount doesn't create at all.
Well, Mount doesn't create, but they create in completely different ways. In terms of, I'm saying. What I'm saying is
focus on what he's doing, which is what he was doing today, and just keep doing that. Whereas we need to replace Mount and find someone who has the ability to create from the middle. I don't think it's Caicedo, but if they really think Caicedo is that guy, let it be Caicedo.
But David, wouldn't you rather have a front three? And what we saw at the end, which I saw a bit better of, was have Ziyech on the right and Mudryk on the left.
Again, for me, even though Ziyech played well today, I don't think Ziyech's the answer. Personally,
I don't think Ziyech is the answer either. But I'd rather have that for now.
I think that the way that it's going to end up, it will be Felix, Madueke, and Mudryk. Because they all have the ability to interlink together and run at people and create space. And when they create space by running at people, it gives everybody else more time. So the lesser players who struggle in tight spaces have more time, so they look better. If you see what I'm trying to say, that's what I think.
Exactly. Simple as that. Like I know Terry got to cut the show soon, so I'll be quick. But there's a lot of signs for us to be positive today. Like I know it was a drab game, and like the way it ended was kind of annoying for us. But I think we deserve to win overall. We had better chances. The signings you could see actually making an impact to a certain degree. Still got a lot more for them to come. And there's a lot more positive energy with Chelsea right now. Like we were watching the game thinking we could have won, whereas in the past it was like not losing was the main objective. So today that's already an upgrade and a positive sign for us moving forward. And we've also got 2 clean sheets in the back as well. And we think we've got a 2-week rest. I think we've got 2 weeks now until our next game. So hopefully you get Felix back. You get Caicedo in the door before then, and you can sort of get the synergy kind of working together and start establishing some sort of like chemistry and style of play, which we saw a little bit of today, but the final third and the midfield is just lacking. If we added even Caicedo today and you added Felix in, I think we win that game today. I think we win it. So those are little differences, and all this Potter in and out nonsense I think will die away because people start to see he has got a bit of hold on this team. He has got an eye for the talent, and he knows how to like progress and get the best out of the players. So I'm just looking forward to it. And if you're a Chelsea fan, don't listen to the FFP nonsense. Just do a bit of research. It's very easy, but yeah. That amortization nonsense is stuff.
There's the fact that you keep on buying players, and you've just got so many options that you could just choose from, and so many different players that have different capabilities. Is going to be. It's obviously the future is going to look a lot brighter. Like not only are these players have a quality, but they're also very young and they've got something to prove.
And Ram, I don't think like our downfall is going to be for that long. I genuinely believe next season.
I don't think so as well.
I genuinely believe start of next season we could push for like top 4, top 3 positions. And I'm not even saying that
100%.
hyperbolically because I
If
can
we do the right things, we will. Yeah.
I can see the base we're at now, and I genuinely believe we don't need that many players more. We just have loads of injuries, and the injuries have exacerbated the position we're actually in. We're not actually a bad team. We don't have bad players. Just the injured players who are out are our first teamers, and that's how it is, isn't it? So James comes back, Chilwell comes back, you get Caicedo in. That in itself would be enough for us to like push on to get top 4 this season.
I think the main focus for Chelsea fans is to make sure the performances are a lot better this season, and there are signs of progress, and it will only bode well for the future. If you keep on signing players and you keep playing well, improving your performances, then things will get better.
As for Liverpool, though, it's looking kind of sticky, man. I can't lie.
Because we ain't getting any players, man. We're not going to get any players. It is what it is. I don't know. It depends on if we get our new owners, and we'll have to wait and see, man.
I can tell you right now, it's not going to be quick, especially Man United ones for sale as well. So looking a bit long.
It might be an end of the season kind of thing, and it might be too late. Like we don't even know if we're going to get Champions League football, and that was our big asset, and now that looks unlikely, man.
Yeah.
Like, it is what it is. We need a divine intervention, man.
It certainly
positive sounds of Chelsea Terry overall. I'm happy. I can see Mudryk.
Definitely some positive signs there at Chelsea. I just think it's going to take a little bit of time. Some super chats here. The first one says there is a good chance that Chelsea and Liverpool might miss out on Europe entirely. That could happen. If Arabs buy United, I'll celebrate it like a trophy, is what Ramos says here. Arsenal and Man United going back to battling at the top. Chelsea and Liverpool battling it out mid-table. True football heritage. If it makes Liverpool fans feel better, Michael Edwards will become a great asset to Chelsea football. I mean, he'd be mad if he ends up there as well. Aside from Silva, all of Chelsea's starting 11 are injured, and they still have a decent side to have won the game. Majority back against Fulham. Well, that's the thing. When you throw Reece and Chilwell, just to name 2, João Felix, maybe a Caicedo into this team moving forward, you're going to become more dangerous. And there'll be a lot of teams that will be sitting there and thinking, I'm so glad that we've played Chelsea in this last 10, 11 game period, because maybe in 5, 6, 7 games time, you don't want to be playing Chelsea. There are green shoots of hope. Let's kind of see how that progresses.
Genuinely, Chelsea's next game is I think it's the 3rd or 4th of February.
4th of Feb.
Yeah, so we've got a massive 2-week gap now of training, integrating new people, building up the system. So
injuries coming back.
You're gonna see a brand new Chelsea by the next game.
Because you've got no FA Cup.
We got no Carabao, no FA, no nothing. We got knocked out of that in the 3rd round. Like we should.
All just in time for the Champions League, by the way. Just saying.
No, let's not.
I'm just stating facts. You know. Let's just stating facts, nothing more.
Pull that one
a bit. Today's match was like a station with 2 trains parked but heading in opposite directions. United looked like they missed a bullet with Cody Gakpo. But this is the thing with that about this is why I never get upset about the kind of like missing out on players that they rejected you, you're embarrassed. It's like, let's just say Mykhailo Mudryk goes wrong, awful, say. Then Arsenal fans will celebrate it. If he becomes one of the best attacking players in the world, again, then depends also what Arsenal are doing, how they're performing. Like Man United fans were never that upset about missing out on Ronaldinho because we got Cristiano Ronaldo. The year after that, we got Rooney, and look what we went on to win. So as much as you could make an argument, with Ronaldinho, we might have won even more. Who knows the answer to that question? You're happy with it. But if Arsenal don't win the league this year, and then next year they drop back down to 3rd or 4th in the title race, but Mudryk is killing it at Chelsea and he's winning major trophies, it will look bad. And that's what I love about the transfer window. You don't ever quite know what's working, what's not. Have you dodged the bullet, got the right player? And for me, that's what makes it really fun. Like legitimately, that's what I love about it, because you never really quite know how good or how bad somebody's going to be. I remember, a lot of people were like, "Oh, Arsenal have dodged the bullet. They didn't get Lisandro Martinez." Nobody really thinks that anymore because he's done well. Casemiro at Man United was called you know, a steady Eddie average player. You guys were laughed at when you got Thiago Silva at 35 years old. Oh, he's past it. What's he going to do? He's probably been arguably the most of the last 2 years combined, the most consistent centre back in the Premier League. Probably.
No, 100%.
He's the best centre back in the world to this day.
I think he's been the best centre back in the Prem probably for the last definitely 2 years. 100%.
Yeah, definitely the most consistent. So yeah, it's interesting to see how it goes. But viewers, listen, we'll be back later today with some transfer news for you. The 12th man later today. I'm calling it the Battle of the Sofa. Myself versus Jess, talking about who's going to win between Arsenal and Man United. When I say Battle of the Sofa, one of us on Sunday night is sleeping on the sofa. It's definitely going to happen. Tomorrow, of course, match reactions to the City game. A big group in the studio tomorrow as well. KJ, Neeks, me, Brandon, Jess, Colleen, all in the studio for the big game between Arsenal and Man United. So make sure you're all here. Even if you don't support those teams, I want to see your faces. I want to see your names in the comment sections. David, Ram, Ches, and everyone else that's joined us today, a massive thank you to all of you. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And I'll see you all again soon. Thank you.